SmallTALK.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Small Talk. You already know, 2 queens, but today we have 4 queens here. We have 2 queens from Dope Moms Unfiltered, and we're just gonna chat today. So, Dope Moms Unfiltered, y'all want to introduce yourself? Let the listeners know who you are.
Yes. Thank you so much for having us on. So my name is Alicia. I am one half of Dope Moms Unfiltered. I am a married mama of 2 beautiful but trying little girls. Madison, who is 5, and Olivia, who is 2. I currently work in higher education. I'm the director for the Center of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Set that up. Especially right now, right? We definitely need that working.
Yes.
And I love doing this podcast with my best friend in the whole wide world. And I'll throw it over to her.
All right. Well, yes, thank you for having us. My name is Erin Trauman. I am the other half of Dope Moms Unfiltered. I'm a single mother of 1. My son's name is Jalen. He's 7 years old. He's 7 going on 17. He tries me every single day. Alicia knows everything about him. So, he's a handful, but he's so energetic and I love him. He's my world. So I am a case manager supervisor at a transitional living program dealing with clients who are in the Department of Children and Families who don't have homes, that have been in foster care. So we service 17 to 21-year-old females to try to give them some life skills and be able to be really positive supports for them to make sure that they have a really positive life. And I also am an assistant coach of acrobatics and tumbling at Quinnipiac University.
Oh, yes. Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on. Before we even jump into the topic, can we shout out to social work and higher education right quick? Because y'all are doing it. Shout out to y'all. We're going to talk after this pod ends. We got to talk.
Yeah, we gonna connect.
Because we have some similarities for sure.
Awesome.
All right. So excited to have y'all here, for real. So, Britt, what are we talking about today?
I'm so excited. Just hearing y'all job titles got me excited because it brings even more of like an aspect to what we're actually talking about tonight. Colorism. We're going to go into colorism. It is Black History Month. We know that colorism is a big thing, but it's not often talked about. And it happens mostly in the Black community. So real quick, I want to get y'all perspectives on what y'all feel colorism actually is and how it's, treated in the Black community right now.
Yeah, I can jump in. Do you want me to jump in, E?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, all right. So, colorism for me, like when I've researched it, when I do sessions and things about it, like when I teach my students or have conversations about it, for me, it's a preference of a skin tone, one way or the other. Usually it's in favor of the lighter skin over the darker skin. And this stems all the way back to slavery, when you had, when the slave masters used to rape the slaves and they would have biracial children, and then those children were still slaves, but they would be placed in a house, right? So they would be called the house N-word. We're gonna leave it at that. So they would be there. So there was favoritism there. So if we think about colorism, it literally stems all the way back to slavery, right? And it's very prevalent in the Black culture. And it's not just in the Black culture, it's in many different cultures, and it's weird because it's looked at differently in each culture. Like if you look at the Asian culture, the lighter you are, it's more preferable, right? Because they relate being darker skinned with working out in the fields. And then if you think about the Hispanic culture, the darker you are, they like you being lighter as well, right? Because when they think about you being darker, they think about you being more mixed with, because we know I'm Puerto Rican and Black, so if we think about Taino Indians and the Africans that were brought from Africa during the slave trade and the Spaniards and all that mixture and all that stuff. So it goes deep. Like I could literally just go on and on and on about it. But for me, I think we look at, for me, when I look at colorism, it affects people in so many different avenues. When we talk about work, when we talk about, moving up in certain fields, or what opportunities have been given to you or not given to you, it can go very deep. So for me, I'm gonna leave it there because I know we're probably gonna dive into certain areas a little bit more, and I don't want to say everything with the first answer. But for me, that's really what it encompasses.
Shout out to you, sis, because I know she be doing some DEI work. She does DEI work at her college and university, and I'm on a DEI committee with some coaches at Quinnipiac. So we feel really passionate about this. But I'm not going to echo everything Alicia said because we can really go into it. So I know we're going to get real deep into some stuff. But for real, as blanketed as I could put it, is discrimination based on your skin color, right? Yep. And we experience that in the Black community. We really do. I've experienced it. I experience it even sometimes within sometimes in the past in like my groups of friends. It just being a light woman of color and then joking and doing this versus Black and pinning up Black, lighter skin versus darker skin. Like that always frustrated me. It always frustrated me to the core. Like somebody would always say something about me because I'm light. I can relate to white people because I'm like her. And it's just like, no, I'm African-American. Like that's just it. You know what I mean? So for me, I feel very passionate about this, but colorism to me is just discrimination based on your skin color, and that is in the African community. So I mean, we deal with this all the time, and I can go on and echo everything Alicia said. She's really well. She said it really well. So I mean, I'm not going to echo everything, because that was kudos to you, sis. Kudos to you. I mean, as soon as you went in there, I was like, I wanted to be like, yes, girl, go, because we be talking about this. We really talk about DEI stuff. So yeah. So I can't wait to get into this discussion because we're really passionate about this.
And for our listeners, can you explain what DEI is for the ones that don't know what that is?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yes. Yeah. My apologies. Yes. I always like to say DEI because it's just shorter, but diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah. So I'm on a committee actually just recently this year after the George Floyd incident that happened. I graduated from Quinnipiac University. I went there all 4 years. After I graduated, I became an assistant coach, have been an assistant coach. And just recently, as everything has been unfolding, I felt like it was my duty to become a member of the DEI committee, just because we've never had something like this before as coaches. And coaches are coming together within all different types of sports teams and coming together and figuring out how we can best serve our student athletes. So that's why I'm on the committee. I do have women of color on my team, and I feel like I want to be able to be a spokesperson for them and be able to bring things to light and be able to use my voice and echo anything that they are feeling, anything that they may need, and be able to just whatever they need, support them in any way I can as their coach, but as a member of the coaching staff within the university, and see how far I can go and take it. Because sometimes our students feel like they don't really have a voice. They have a small voice within a really large committee, or community. So I just felt like it was my duty to really step up on this committee within the past year after everything that kind of happened and my students kind of just reaching out to me. And I know Alicia does a wonderful job at DEI as well in her university, and she's been having some jobs that I'm so proud of her. She's been moving on up and busting her ass. So I mean, busting her A, sorry. So yeah, so I'm really proud of her. So we really talk about this on the DP.
Shout out to y'all. I love it. I love to see it. I love to see y'all, like uplifting one another. It is so dope. Y'all are definitely dope moms. Thank you. Shout out to y'all. I really, really love to see it. Both of you, even the work that you're doing is so important right now. And I feel like a lot of people jumped on the wave now, but that's okay as long as we're doing the work, right? And it's getting done, because it's so important, man. So long. I feel like even our ancestors, they endured so much, and now it's just like our generation and the generation behind us, and even the one like slightly before us, we're like, we're not our ancestors. Let's not if you buck. Let's go out here and do this work, and get it done. So
that part.
Yeah. So we're talking about colorism, that light skin, dark skin battle, whatever you want to call it, has been around for so long. Alicia, I think you said it best in terms of like slavery and the house inward versus the ones that are outside, all that other stuff. And I love the fact that you brought out that it's also in different cultures too, because a lot of times we focus on the Black community, but it is also in other cultures and ethnicities. So that's good. But we gonna stick to the Black folks today in honor and light
Right.
of History Month. Light skin, dark skin. We do want to dive into different aspects and angles on where it is. I heard you say work. You know, I believe you said you were a director. I believe you said you're a case manager supervisor. I know Asia is a therapist, and I'm also a director in child welfare. And when we go to that table, we are for Black women, you know, with predominantly white folks or Hispanic folks or Asian, whatever it is. But we're often looked at as the bottom of the totem pole. And if we are there, it's like the darker your skin tone, the more braids you have, or what you do to your hair is often frowned upon. So let's talk a little bit about that, the work dynamic, just colorism within the workplace. Have y'all experienced that, or what are some gems y'all can throw out there?
So, I mean, I'll jump in. I think, you know, for me, one thing that's really important is, like I said in the beginning, like I identify, my father is Black, my mother is Puerto Rican, right? So I'm half Black, half Puerto Rican. There's no in-betweens. That's just what I am, right? But I also recognize and understand that me having a lighter complexion gives me privilege that other people don't have, right? Like the other women don't have. So I have two sisters. My youngest sister is lighter than me. This is winter skin, all right? So don't judge me too hard. But my younger sister is lighter than I am, but my oldest sister is darker than I am, right? And so I understand that we move through situations differently, and we're judged in situations differently solely based on the color of our skin. So me knowing that, I think for me, gives me this, puts me in a place where I feel like I need to be even more vocal, and I need to put even more attention to certain situations, because I'm aware of, although I identify as being half Black and Puerto Rican, I know that I can have certain conversations with individuals, and they're not going to take me as being as aggressive as they would take, say, my sister, who is a darker skinned female. Do you know what I'm saying? And so when we think about in the workplace, I use that to my advantage. So I'm going to use that, right, to have those tougher conversations, to put people in their places, to bring other people to the table when they're not being asked to bring brought to the table, right? Or their opinions and their experiences aren't being brought to that table, or aren't being asked about. So for me, I use that because I know that I have that. And that's part of and for me, I feel like that's a part of my responsibility, being who I am, how I look, but also knowing how I identify and what I know, and the fact that I'm not afraid to go to bat for anybody when it comes to any conversation, you know, no matter what table I'm sitting at. But there's definitely been times where I can see like counterparts, or even like mentors, or people that have maybe been in higher positions and things that I've, like, you know, where I see how things are moved, or how people move around them, you know what I mean? And like, I pick up on that. And because I pick up on that, I use my position of power and my privilege to make sure that I dismantle that. And that's not going to happen around the places I'm in. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, I definitely see it. It's definitely prevalent. You know, you get labeled as the angry Black woman, right? Or for me, I look more probably Hispanic, so the emotional Latina or whatever. But it doesn't matter. You get labeled that way. So me knowing what I know, I'm like, all right, no, she's not being aggressive. She's not being angry. She's voicing her opinion as well. We're going to validate that, because it's just as important as this person over here.
Facts. Snaps. Facts. She said a mouthful. Like, I don't even know what she
listen, I'm telling you, she be like, listen, you ever hear what I was like? Oh, we about to just pour the wine up, sis, because we gonna have a session today.
I go in. I'm sorry.
It's so true. It's so
she goes
true.
in, but she be going in for her people, and you know, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people could sit back and just be like, it is what it is. Exactly. No, we're not about to. It is what it is. It's 2021. Things got to change. After everything we saw within this last year, stuff is going to have to change. We are not about to be called angry, aggressive. No more. I've experienced it. I think that with me being a lighter woman of color, right? I dislike when people ask me all the time, what are you? What are you mixed with?
Yes.
Microaggression.
Like, I was like, I said, what do you think I'm mixed with? Oh, I think you're Dominican. I think you're this. I said, why? That's how I start off all conversations. Why?
Mhm.
Oh, because you're light, you're this, you talk this way, you do. I said, hold up. I said, no. I said, my mom is Black, my dad is Black. I was like, downtown Waterbury, downtown. I said, so no. Oh, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean, I said, oh, so now, and then I was like, so now you don't want the angry person to come out because now you're just, you know what I mean? I have to check myself because I want to really go in on people and educate them. But that's one thing I really dislike as being labeled as a light-skinned woman of color, is that I have to be mixed with something. I can't be 100% just Black. I have to be mixed with something because I'm lighter complexion. I dislike that. I said, my dad is a little bit darker than my mom. You know what I mean? So we're all in the middle. Like my mom is literally 100% African American. My dad, they just were lighter. Like that's what happened. Like, you're not going to apologize. I'm not going to say, down the line, we've had lineage of, no. My mom is Black, my dad is Black. Me, my sister, and my brother were Black. And I'm sorry that you don't associate me being lighter with being 100%. And that's something I really dislike. I just, that's something that doesn't sit well with me. And I have to really address it 10 times out of 10 when anytime somebody says something. Or if somebody says, oh, listen, oh, you're really tall and you're Black, you must have played basketball. That irks me too, right? Because now we're associating tall, Black, athletic with predominantly Black sports, basketball, female. You must have been. I was like, no, I did cheerleading, I did acrobatics and tumbling, I did softball, I did track, I did basketball, and they're like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah. I said, there's Black women that do that regardless. It's not just white women. I said, I got a scholarship at a university that really showed off my talent. I said, yeah, and I worked really hard for that. I was like, so anytime I really try to break down any type of those barriers because I feel like it's really important. And I really try to do that with a lot of my clients because a lot of them are predominantly of women of color and they've always been shot down time and time and time again. And I feel like I have to be a stronger mentor for them to let them know you need to use your voice. People say your name wrong, speak up and correct them 10 times out of 10. That's your name. You have the right to correct them. You have the voice to do it and make sure you do it. There's a way to do it because my clients will come across very aggressively like, F you, but okay, wait, time out. There's a way to do it. I'm gonna teach you how to do it because there's always, this is the one thing that, rest in peace, one of my friends, she used to say, there's always one way to skin the cat. I don't even know what the heck that means. It's an old school kind of saying, but she's an older school woman. She was from Florida. She was from Fort Lauderdale. She schooled me on a whole bunch of things. There's always one way to skin the cat. And this is what we about to do. I was like, okay, sis, school me on it. Cause I'm ready to go. Like, let me put me on so I can, and so we would always, make sure our residents, and cause all of them are literally women of color, between Hispanic, African-American, Jamaican, doesn't matter. We want to make sure that they're using their voice and their voice is being heard, especially with being in the system and being in the foster system and not having ties to their family and not knowing anything. That's okay. You don't know your family, you don't know anything, but let's get to know you and stand up for yourself. So that's something that I really, really, really work hard on with my clients.
Yes. And it's important. I think it starts with us too. We got to stop bashing one another, this light skin, dark skin rivalry within ourselves first, because when we have kids, we pass that down to our children, right? And so I too work in the child welfare system, and we get a lot of foster kids that were brought up in these homes that dark skin, very short hair was always made fun of because the light skinned chick with the long hair was always prettier and she was always this and she was always that. So when foster parents come in, some of them, I've been in homes where I visited some of these children and the foster mom was like, I need a new kid because they're bad, right? They labeled the Black kid as bad. But lo and behold, you talk to the kid and it's like, oh, she calls me a darkie, or oh, she calls me this. We immediately, remove these people because they shouldn't be foster parents.
No.
But I just feel like there's so many people like that in the world. And if we don't teach our children how to be a voice for themselves within our own community, if we're consistently tearing each other down because it's like, oh, the light skinned girl is better than the dark skin. Like, I love that. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Go ahead, sis, because we're all a part of the Black culture. And I just feel like that rivalry has to stop because We're all queens. We're all kings. I know people may joke about the light skin syndrome when it comes to the male species. Like,
oh my God.
or squint their eyes, or they got the
They're
selfie.
like,
That's a,
the light eye. What are you doing? Can you open your eyes?
bruh, and you know what we talking about. And that's so funny. Alicia said that. I was like, we did at the same time. We were like, this one?
The eyes squinted.
Sexy
I
face.
was like,
So true.
open them
But that's what's
a
so
little wider.
because sometimes there are like, Britt, to your point, there are like certain stereotypes, right? That for all intents and purposes, like I do think like even when it comes to this whole like the light skinned dudes in the pictures, like they feed into that though. Because it gives them a certain attention. You know what I'm saying? And like, and even when it comes down to because now it's like, okay, but the dark skinned guys, and now it's something interesting because when I see a lot of pictures like in media, the darker skinned man usually has some type of like beard. His beard is always on
thick,
just
full, thick,
thick beard. That shit.
Damn.
like I'm not mad at that, but even with that, like I think sometimes how we even in like our homes and like and even what we see in media and stuff like that, it does play a role in how we view each other, right? And like so like for instance, like when it came to me being lighter skinned, like I was very conscious of, well, I don't want to be seen as this super rude, this super like bougie sedity kind of girl. So for me, like I realized that most of my friends growing up were
she was
Oh, you froze for a second. Go ahead.
every time, y'all, every time. But
I was like, she about to get it.
So growing up, like because I was very conscious of that, like most of my friends were all darker than me. The guys that I was attracted to were darker skin. Because for me, I'm like, well, I don't want to be viewed as like I'm cool, I'll be chilling. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, I saw how people were viewing like my darker skin friends. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like something about that just isn't right. And I think it comes down to like what we see in the home, what goes on in the home, but also what we see in the media. Because how many times have we seen a show, right? Season 1, it'll be some milk chocolate, you know, shorty on there, you know what I'm saying? Or it's usually, and it's always the girls. I have never seen them switch out, and I'm gonna just say it like this. I've never seen it on TV. I've never seen them switch out a darker skinned male with a lighter skinned male. I've always seen it where it's been able to switch out, like My Wife and Kids.
Right.
Think about it like that.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like that, I mean, that's like one of the biggest ones. Like everybody knows. 2 Aunt Vivs.
You have to ask yourself, like, so why? And it's always like, and typically, it's always like it's like the younger kids, and it's like, why are they doing that? Because now you got to think about the psyche. So what happens to the young kid that's watching the show, and it's like, oh well, that was the you know, that was the person that I connected with, and now, okay, well, she's wrong now. So why and then they always act like they just act like it just happened. Like we never get the season. Like Aunt Viv is still Aunt Viv, right? There was nothing in between that, and really seeing, and like one of the things that was most upsetting for me, and I don't even know if y'all will remember this, but they were doing I think it was a biography actually, but I know they were doing just a movie, I'll say that, about Nina Simone. And Nina Simone, a chocolate woman, right? Chocolate woman, beautiful, beautiful. And the person that they cast to do her was Zoe Saldana.
Of all the people.
Yeah. Right. Don't make no type of sense.
And in my mind, it's like, why? There's so many beautiful, chocolate, talented actresses that could have played that role. So why? You know, and then it just goes back to the colorism within the industry, right? Within media. So I just want to like hear y'all's thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, in the media, I feel like we see it the most in the media because that's what we see all the time, right? That's what we're being fed: magazines, videos, movies, commercials. Like that's what you're constantly seeing. ingesting, like on your phone, on TV, and the radio, like, well, not the radio because you can't see anybody on the radio, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So you see it, and the issue is that we're like, one of the biggest problems, in my opinion, is that we will deny roles and opportunities to darker skinned women, right? And we will give them to the lighter skinned women who will either have certain features of the darker skinned woman, right? Or like, if we want to just be straight up, like, we're okay with Kim Kardashian and her big butt, small waist and stuff like that, but we don't want to give it to Black women. We don't want to give her opportunities who have the natural big butt and a small waist.
I was just about to say
we're
that.
okay with the people who artificially alter themselves to mimic features of Black women, right? And so, but because they're lighter skin and they're more appealing and they look more exotic, we're okay with that, right? Like, we're more welcoming and more okay with bringing them onto these films, these movie opportunities, these commercials, whatever it may be. And it's so problematic because it's denying talented Black women the opportunity to move up in their career, giving them, you know, job opportunities and all that stuff. But then what are the messages that we're sending to, like you said, the individuals who are consuming this, right? So we're thinking, like, we're all older women. We're not old, but we're not children, right? Let me correct you. We're not old women, but when we think about, like, you know, our children, right, or our younger siblings or younger cousins, or these younger generations that are ingesting this and are eat, sleep, breathing this stuff, and then when they get to our age, don't love who they are or don't see themselves in certain roles or in different areas. And it's so problematic because it hurts their self-esteem, like their psyche, their mental, like anxiety, depression, like they don't feel like they identify with stuff. It just goes on so many different levels. So in the media, it's huge. It's so big. And it's so problematic, especially when we have individuals who aren't even Black, and then pretend or play a Black character in certain things. And it's like, but we have so many amazing Black actors and actresses, or singers and songwriters, producers. Like, why can't we highlight these individuals? Why don't we give them the opportunity? But because we feel more comfortable with putting these lighter skinned people in these positions, we do that, and then we deny them those opportunities. So then we continue to perpetuate this cycle of like not allowing these individuals to move up. They stay stagnant. Some people have to change careers. Like, it's so problematic within that whole conversation of colorism within the media. And then we talk about artists who highlight, you know, I don't want, let me not jump into that. Let me leave that there. Go ahead. You know, y'all go ahead. Go ahead. Because that's a whole nother part, right?
Yeah. You went in, sis. You went in.
I'm sorry. I keep doing that.
No, you. Go ahead.
No.
That was.
So I was gonna say, jump into it, because I sure was gonna bring up what's her name, Danny Lay.
Yeah.
You made that light skin song about the baby, and he left her like 2 days later.
Okay, you did a whole for what? For what? Like,
just
for what? Representation matters. Going off of what Alicia just said, representation matters, right? I dislike the whole one versus this, right? Like, there needs to be roles of where people look like others in the world. There's not just one category where this is what everybody should look like right here in this little bubble. That's why there's so many different species out there. It's like, and it needs to be celebrated that everybody looks different. It needs to be celebrated. It doesn't need to be looked down upon. And that's what makes me so angry, is that people look down upon people that don't look a certain way. And then we have all these stereotypes. No, like, we can't keep doing that. And I know Alicia went on a rant, and you go, girl, because I was over here like, again, that was my second moment.
You know, I be going in. I be going on like a.
No, but I know that you're so passionate about. No, it's because you're so passionate about it, and I know we talk about it all the time. And I just be letting her go, and I just be like, yeah, girl, And she'd be like, and another thing. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm.
I know.
I'd be like, but, and she'd be like, and this, and I don't know. I was like, girl.
It needs to be said. It needs to be said, man.
And she'd be like, you know what? I feel really good. I was like, you know what? You do. You feel great. That's great. I'm so proud of you. You feel really great. You needed to let all of that out.
Let it out.
Because it's very aggravating.
But if you would have let that out into a different type of somebody else, like they would have thought that you were aggressive. They would have thought that you were angry. They would have thought that you were whatever, right? So it's like we create spaces, especially Alicia and I, we create spaces for each other to be able to drain off a lot of those emotions, where a lot of times that we don't think that we could be able to say that how we want to say in the moment when we really need to say it, right? We have to play those politics with those the higher ups and be like smiling everyone's face and try to code switch and like, okay, let me not say this, let me not do that. And because there's times at the workplace, I really want to be getting people like, okay, I'm really gonna unleash on you right now because you tested me, but I'm gonna put a smile on my face and I'm gonna try to flip it in a different way where you're gonna understand me, right?
Right.
But going back to what you said, I feel like representation matters, and I feel like there are so many brown boys and girls and should see people that look like them, light, dark, brown, it doesn't matter. Like we need to have roles and they need to be represented the way that they should be.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I feel like that's where it starts. That's where the root of it starts. They're our generation, and they're the ones that's going to teach the ones after and after and after and after. It's a cycle. In order to stop those generational curses, we have to start within ourselves first. And here we are talking about it within the Black community. Even looking at, I don't know if you guys are in I know Asia's in a sorority, but even sororities and fraternities, that freaking, what was it, the brown paper bag test? If you lied enough and you passed it, you was in the sorority or whatever it was back in the day. And it's just like, dang, I mean, I know it went back to slavery, but then it just didn't stop. And it's still here till this day in 2021. And it's just like, man, it bothers me so much because I have a daughter, and she'll ask me, she'll be like, oh, the peach girl looks like this. And it's like, okay, she doesn't say like white girl, she's 5. So she's identifies as peach girl and the brown girl right now. So that's where we are. But
that's so cute.
When it gets to the brown girl and like the dark brown girl, she'll be like, oh, the brown girl looks better. The dark brown girl, her hair looks like this. And my friend said that her hair, blah, blah, blah. So that's my opportunity to teach her, like, no, wait a minute, hold on. They look the same. They are the same. One just sat in the sun a little longer. One baked over here a little longer.
Right.
They're beautiful. Both of their hair, curls, whatever it is. I think it starts there. And if you're not teaching your children in the home or in the classroom or whatever volunteer, mentor program, whatever it is, that's where it starts, because I could easily say, yeah, sis, you're right. The light-skinned girl looks better, or the light-skinned girl will probably go somewhere that the dark-skinned girl will never go. Yeah. But I'm watching the come up 2021. I'm watching all skin girls within the Black community, within even the Hispanic culture, because, a lot identify as with the darker skin or brown skin or anybody that has melanin. Period. We're on the come up, and we were always frowned upon, and the white folks always were like, oh, you must be Black, or you must be Indian, or you must be Spanish, or you must be this, just because we got a little melanin in our skin. And it just, it's terrible, but I'm just so happy to see that we are on the rise and on the come up. So just to keep that division together, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but mesh together, that we're all one, we're all queens, we're all kings. It's admirable, and I just hope that we can continue to push that narrative, because it really does need to stop. It's very, very annoying. And I blame a lot of it. I blame Hollywood. I blame social media. We can talk about it in our homes all we want to, but thank God music videos are not predominant now.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Oh my God, when they were, we were like,
we were growing up, and I would just love the music video channel, just watching the music videos. I'd be like,
but then you think about the females that were in the videos. Who was always the main, video vixen? It was a light
video vixen with the weave, the really long black hair, light skin.
Every time.
It's so crazy.
Every time. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's like, and then you don't see it, like, for women or young girls that are darker skinned, you don't see yourselves, or you see yourselves, but they're like one of the extras in the back or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't see yourself as like the main one, the one that the people
Asia.
are wanting or whichever, you know?
I don't think we could. You were coming in and out. Your mic is really low. We were trying to hear you.
Sorry.
Check
My
that.
internet is bad, girl. Listen, I got like 12 different devices on it. So it might be, can you hear me?
No, yeah.
No, we can hear you. We can hear
Oh.
you. I can hear you. I
Okay.
don't know if Aaron can hear us.
I
I can hear y'all. Y'all are fine.
Okay.
Y'all can hear me?
Yes.
Very little. Like your mic is low, but
I
we can.
don't have my little AirPods. I usually have them, but it's all good. But what I was gonna say is it's interesting because when we think about even in like colorism, right? Like when we think light skin, we automatically think long flowy hair or like long hair. And then when we think about dark skin, we always think, right, like the kinks and the coils and very short 4C hair. So that when you see a darker skin chocolate woman, right, with like long flowy hair,
Right.
then it's like, oh, Aaron, to your point, what do you mix with? Black and black.
Period.
Then, or when you see like lighter skinned women that have, let's say, like, well, I don't know, different types of hair that's not this long flow. It's like, oh, like, did you cut your hair? No, I have 4C hair too.
Yeah.
It's a thing, you know, and really just thinking about that. It's like, it's crazy to me, but Britt, to your point and the celebration of it all, I'm so grateful even when we think about, because we're talking now almost about like the standard of beauty and how it's gone from like the video vixens and what we see, even the influencers and this like Instagram face. And now we do have like, even when we think about makeup brands, right? Like we were never, first of all, Black women, right? There are so many shades, so many undertones, all types of stuff, but we had to pick the same types of colors. It was always the caramel, cocoa, honey, all these things like that, right? And even seeing how, and what comes to mind now is even thinking about like Rihanna, right? With Fenty Beauty, and just how many colors, right? And just on the spectrum, and really celebrating not just the lighter end of the spectrum, right? So because when I was thinking about, like, as we were talking about the standard of beauty, like I just love seeing whenever she has advertisements, or even when she's doing like any type of ad or anything like that, I'm just like, yes, I see us, and all the shades of us. And it can be like a darker skinned woman with long flowy hair, that is hers, right? To a lighter skinned woman who's just looking how she's looking, and that's also fine. But I think, and Aaron, to your point, I think it's really just about celebrating all of our differences, and not putting like a yes on either side, right? Because it's like, because it's also one of those things of like, if you are a lighter skinned woman, don't be ashamed of being a lighter skinned woman. Like that's who you are. Just like if you are a darker skinned woman, and this goes for men too, like
celebrate
that's who you are, right? Celebrate that. So I think I have seen a shift. And granted, and I'm just thinking about even makeup brands, because I just keep going back to, at first it was just those couple of colors.
Right.
And now we're seeing how it's expanding and extending. So I just want to shout out Rihanna for that, because not many people are doing that.
And I think that, to your point, Isha, that she represents the Black woman. Regardless, it doesn't matter, like you said, on the spectrum, she represents the Black woman. She took it amongst herself to be able to celebrate along that whole entire spectrum, like any type of color, any type of undertone, like you said, she celebrated it, and she made a platform because she wanted to make sure that everybody had something for themselves.
Right.
And so, which is beautiful. And I just pray and I wish and I hope, and this is my biggest thing, is that we all come together, and we're stronger together than we are apart. Light skin versus dark skin over here. Like, if we just recognize, and I'm really big on this, I know Alicia is too, we like, if we go out, or when outside was open, because it's not open no more, but when
Florida outside is open.
Listen, it's closed over here for me.
Oh man,
for Brittany it's closed, but for everybody else,
it's open.
I've seen the airports. Everybody's flooding Miami.
Yeah.
I'll be there next month.
I'm upset. I don't want to talk about it, Alicia. Whatever. I'm just mad at you. Nah, I'm mad.
Sorry, Erin, I
angry.
interrupted. Please go ahead.
No, I don't even know where I was going with this. I was on the flow.
Damn, I'm sorry.
Dang.
It was
But all I
good
want to
too.
say, all I want to say is that I hope and I pray one day that, you know, it's no longer going to be the light versus dark. I feel like if we're stronger together than we are apart, and none of that toxic, because it is for me, I feel like it's very toxic to be saying this and that. And I understand that people can't help it because of, you know, it stems from the past and whatever, but it has to be that one person that stands up and says, nah, no, we're not doing this. We got to break that. We got to break it down. We need to educate everybody. And it comes with education. Education is key. Education, knowledge is power. And I think that if it takes all of us together to be able to, you know, celebrate, this is where I was going with this, is that, Alicia, when me and you go out, we will be the first person, regardless of what they look like, anything, light skin, dark skin, Asian, what, it doesn't matter. We're like, ooh, sis, you killing that outfit. Yes, girl, that hair is everything, girl. We'll walk into any place and we'll be like, you see her lipstick? That shit is popping. Like, and we'll be like, listen, where'd you get your hair done? Because it's cute. Like, we don't have no type of filter when it comes to that, because we feel like, as women of color, we want to celebrate women in general. That's number one. But then number two, we want to uplift our sisters. We want to uplift the women of color as well, because they've been in the shadows for a very, very long time, that we want to make sure that we give credit where credit is due. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to sound like, you know, crazy person, but we fly, y'all. You know, we really are. Women of color, they may have been in the shadows for a very long time and been overlooked and whatever, but guess what? It's going to take that woman of color to be like, you know what, no more, and shine and really outshine a lot of people and be like, this is what I have to contribute. And people are going to have to look at her and really be like, you know what? You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for everybody. That's what I wish and I hope and pray. And that's what I want. You know what I mean? Because we're all dope. We're all dope.
We are.
Shout out to us.
You're right. Like, I mean, honestly, like, think about it. Like, the Black woman has literally been the backbone of, like, if you want to think about America, like, we could put America, we could say America. It's been the backbone of lifting us up, of building us up, of creating what the hell we got now. Okay, let's just we could, I mean, if we want to get technical, okay, Stacey Abrams, all right, in Georgia is the whole reason why Georgia flipped. Okay, and if we don't remember, she was the one that had the whole governor thing was stolen from her 2 years ago when she ran. And she was like, okay, so I might have lost the race, but what is it? Race, what is it? What is that? That's like the race or the all right, battle and war. I'm gonna use battle and war.
Yeah, I was about to say it's battle and war.
I know, but there's like a race. Oh, marathon. It's a race and marathon. That was the other one.
Yeah. I was like, it's the marathon. It's the marathon.
That's I couldn't remember. But she was like, I might have lost.
I was like over here like this.
Battle, but I'm gonna win the war. And so she lost governor, right? But then she had the whole state flip and was one of the biggest reasons why we got this fool out of office and we were able to bring in Biden. Now, was he my number one? No, but he was better than Trump. So I'm gonna leave it there. But what I'm trying to say is that Black women literally are so powerful when they unite, no matter what you look like, no matter where you come from, no matter the amount of education you have, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, they are the backbone and always have been. So they need to start getting recognized that way. We need to start getting recognized that way because that's who we are. That's our history. That's who we've always been. So at the end of the day, that's what it needs to be.
100%. And going off of that, it's kind of like, it's not always a light skin, dark skin over here. It's if you take time to get to know that individual, we are individuals, number one, right? I'm not just a representation of the light skinned Black women. Like, no, I'm Erin, I'm this, I have this to contribute. If people took the time to get to know everybody individually, all of that would go out the window. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's so easy to just put that light, dark right there and pin it up against each other because it's going on for so long. It's just break that all down. Enough of that. It's trash. It's trash. Throw it away. We don't need that. 2020 was hard enough with everything that was been going on in the social media and in the news and stuff like that. Me and Alicia, we talk about that all the time. Like, oh no, you got one more time because we really about to show out. We really are because we can't take no more. We can't take no more. I'm not taking no more backseat. But 2021, we gotta make some changes amongst ourselves too, and amongst our community. I think that if we do that, and we really could succeed real fast. So
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this before we end, because I know Asia was getting ready to throw that in there. I'm gonna say this real quick. Alicia has dropped some gems. She gave it to us cut and dry. Erin has came through. She has dropped some gems. She gave it to us cut and dry. So if y'all didn't learn nothing else, y'all better learn that one, representation matters, right? We are all queens and kings. And one thing that we didn't really touch on, but I'm gonna throw it out there before we log off. Black men, brothers, hear me out. Stop throwing Black women under the bus. Stop talking about us. Stop bashing us, whatever it may be, okay? If you choose your white woman, that's your preference. However, do not come back and bash the Black woman. Oh, she got an attitude. Oh, she this. Oh, she that. And then when you choose your Black woman, do not bash the dark-skinned women or do not bash the light-skinned woman because you feel like they fit a certain stereotype. That is self-hate. Your mother is Black. Whether she's light-skinned or dark-skinned, you came from a Black seed, a Black womb. So to me, it's a lot. It's self-hate. You gotta hate yourself. You Black, you know, and you out here. If you talk about the next Black woman, what about your mama? I always refer back to your mom, your grandmama, somebody Black in your family, because you're Black. Right. So Black men, cut it. Choose what you. I'm not saying you know you go this way. Choose what you feel. Your preference is with anybody. I'm all for interracial couples and dating. That's on y'all. However, do not bash the other culture. It's just not. It's not cool. It's not cute. It's trash, like Erin said. Throw it away. Throw it away.
I can't even believe that you said that. Like, cause I wrote it down on a piece of paper, right? And I was like, yo, this is going to be a real good topic and you went out and said, I literally have it down on a piece of paper, right? Black men versus Black women.
That's crazy.
And I was like, we about to talk about this. I know they about to throw something in on us. And I was like, and I'm about to do it. I'm about to go there. I'm about to flip. I always talk about it in some lives. I always say, oh, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench, right? Like, ain't nobody's going to think about it. So that was that. And the one thing that when you said that, I remember being out with a couple of my friends and my sister. Alicia wasn't out this night. It was a while ago. A Black man came up to me and said, you are so pretty for a Black girl.
Oh.
And to no end, I gave no F's and I went off. I said, you know what? He's not about to get no type of pass. My sister, Sade, they had to literally, I was like, you know what? I'm about to educate him. It was the middle of, a club and whatever. And I was like, you know what? No, he's not about to get no type of pass. Like, and I said exactly what you said, Brittany. I was like, isn't your mom Black? Like, what? You are literally standing in front of me as a Black man telling me, right. Oh, I can't, wow. You're really pretty for a Black girl. What you trying to say? Black women aren't pretty? Like, it made me so angry. It flipped my lid and I couldn't hold back nothing. And I remember my brother being outside. He was like, are you okay? I was like, no, I'm not okay. I'm real mad and I'm angry and I wanted to pop. And everyone was like, just let it go. Let it go. No, we're not about to let it go. Because in those moments, you need to educate the people and you need to stand up and you need to do whatever. Because I felt like I was standing up for the Black queens in the world. I was like, you're not about to sun us. No, absolutely. Right. You're not about to do this to us. Not today, not ever, not on my watch. You're not about to do that. No, not today. Don't do that. Don't do that. So it was so funny when you said that. I was like, get him. You better go. You got me rooting for you too, Brittany. I was like, get him. You better go, girl. Go. Unleash that. But I know that could be a whole nother episode for y'all. And if you do, you could let me know because I'll come on. I will be out willing.
Y'all will be the first people we call. The first people we call, because that is a topic in itself. But that had to be dropped because it exists and it needs
very
to
well
stop.
said. Yeah, very well said.
That's why when you were like, when you were saying that I was about to end it and stuff, in my mind, because I was sitting here and I was like, Brittany always says, and I feel like in all of our episodes, it's always, we need to normalize blank, right? That's Brittany's thing. And Erin, when you were talking about just like how you and Alicia, y'all celebrate like just women in general, I'm like, we need to normalize that, because so many times when Black women have been, and women in general, but especially Black women, when we are celebrated, right, for our features, it's usually so over sexualized.
Sexualized, yeah.
Not pure. It's literally one of those, it's either a microaggression, right? Like, oh, you're pretty for a Black woman, or things like inappropriate, like, oh, you got, what do they used to say? Things about like the lips, right? So show me what that means. You got
lips do.
You know what I'm saying? And it's always sexualizing what makes us beautiful, right? And just what makes us us. So I think it's so great, and it's something that we should remember, and we should normalize just celebrating one another, and because it's pure. It's not coming from a place of like, I'm telling you this so you can tell me, you know, something back, or I'm telling you that I like your hair. You know what I'm saying? For the sake of just saying it, or whatever the case may be. But I think it's really, really important that we just love on one another. We uplift one another. Because there's some people out here that are either trying to bring us down, or they're not even, it's like a pseudo celebration, right? Like, it's legit. It's like, all right, I'm gonna tell you this so that I can just see where this gets me, because people fetishize Black women in general, but that's a whole other thing too. We could talk about.
It is.
But that was just something else that I was gonna say. And there's some other, just on this whole topic of just like Black men. Brittany, why did you start this? Because really, when you think about this whole Black men versus Black women thing, right? There was this thread going on TikTok actually, and it was this Black man, and he had a question, and he was essentially like, okay, so to all my fellas out there that choose to be with someone that's not a Black woman, right? Explain to me why you're with them without saying anything about a Black woman. And when I tell you, majority of the people that were like, because he will show the responses, a lot of the dudes that were like giving responses still reverted back to something about a Black woman.
Right.
Like, okay, so either y'all not hear me, or y'all just got something wrong here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really one of those things of like to Britt's point, love who you love, do what you need to do for you and your heart, in your heart space. But don't bring that over here.
Right.
Like we're good. That's what we're good. Okay. We don't need you. We don't need your broke self anyway. Just kidding. But if you can't,
not the broke self.
Say that. Okay. No, but to your point, it is, and even with that, and I'll just keep going back to the celebrations of the trends that I've seen now. It is awesome to see other men challenging men that do have these narratives and have these ideals of, you know, a Black woman is less than.
Right.
Therefore, I need to get this person, or whatever the case may be. Or I saw my mom struggle, and I know that Black women, all they do is struggle, and they want to sit in the struggle. And it's like, no, sir, that you have trauma. Okay, you need some healing. That's what you need. Okay.
Who wants to sit in the struggle? Who wants to be there? Who physically wants to be there?
Yep.
It's a no. It's a no for me.
Right.
I was so proud one day. My son literally, he opened the car door for me, and he was like, "Here, mommy." And I was like, "Ooh, you opened the car doors for me? Okay, cool." He said, "No, yes, because you're my beautiful Black mommy. I love you so much." And I was like, "Okay, I must have done something right? Because his dad is Puerto Rican, like, right? So identified very differently. So for him to recognize that in the moment, like, beautiful Black women, like, I was just so proud, because it was like, not that like I sat him down and was like, Black is beautiful and everybody, and you know what I mean? I didn't do that. I just was like, everybody is beautiful, everybody, whatever. He's like, but you are a beautiful Black mom. You are beautiful. You are a queen. I was like, okay, you 7 years old. Preach to me, baby. Okay. Where you getting that from? And
Jay.
I don't know. He could have picked it up from his dad. He could have picked it up. You know what I mean? Like, But for me, I just teach them to love all and love everybody, regardless of skin color, regardless of,
Right.
you know, anything going on. It doesn't matter. You have friends that are your friends for a reason, because they're nice to you and they're this,
Right.
not because they're Black, not because they're Asian, not because they're white. So that was really important. That was a really good point.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yes. So this has been another episode of Small Talk. You already know, usually 2 queens, and today we have 4 because we have Dope Moms Unfiltered with us today. Erin and Alicia, thank y'all so much for being here with us and just spending time chatting it up.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. This was fun. This was fun.
Good. This was so much fun. We appreciate y'all so much.
Bringing y'all back. We'll for
y'all.
sure bring y'all back.
So we will
Absolutely.
see y'all on the next episode. Bye.
Peace.